Is there a difference between 8-pin EPS12V and CE connectors? I was reading this article, and a question came to my mind. 8-pin EPS12V power cable. 8-pin C express power cable. Besides the name and the color, these two connectors look the same. Is there a case where one should be used over the other? Is there any difference between these two connectors? Is the color of the connector a correct way to distinguish them?
They are completely different. The EPS connector is meant to supply power to a motherboard CPU socket, while the PCI Express connector is meant to supply power to a PU. You shouldn't be able to switch between them. The square and rounded off connectors are arranged such that you can't. Note the top left connector on the EPS12V is squared off, while that on the PCI is rounded off in the image before. Essentially differences like that are to prevent you from plugging a PCI connector into a EPS12V. There may be other differences, but I don't have these connectors on hand. The power connectors are different. While they're both 12V, yellow, and ground, black, the row closer to the clip of the PCI connector is ground, and the bottom is 12V, and it's the other way around on the EPS12V. Here's a much bigger / better picture of them taken from the computer hardware chart done by Sonic 840 on DeviantArt, CC by SAR. Attempting to switch between them will result in physical damage, from attempting to fit physically different connectors, and electrical damage, from reversing the power feeds to the device. I'd recommend inspecting the connectors, which are typically labeled, as well as the order/color of the power cables connected to the connector, and working out what a cable is. Connectors themselves, however, are not typically color-coded in any way.
It should be said, as this generated doubt for non-used user, that all the sockets, on a modular power supply, that are marked CPU, CE are identical. One could think a part of them are for CPU, 12V, and the rest for PCIe. In fact, it is the cable itself that swapped 12V pins and GND pins to comply with the motherboard pin arrangement.
Unfortunately, it's not true that you cannot connect PCI 8-pin plug to EPS12V motherboard slot. It might be only an exception found with FSP-SU, but a single difference in one male pin on PCI connector allows to plug your SU totally wrong. PCI and EPS12V FSP-SU plugs comparison against PU PCI socket and motherboard EPS12V socket. See the picture, top left PU PCI socket, top right PCI plug, bottom left motherboard EPS socket, bottom right EPS plug. As you can see, the top right pin of PCI plug is rounded, which allows to accidentally plug it to motherboard EPS socket. This way one could easily destroy motherboard/CPU components. I don't know if this is the only SU having this flaw. I haven't seen PCI plug with rounded top right pin on Quartet.
Some cables come in all black, especially those come with power supply for cosmetic, and some in all yellow anyway. You can't actually rely on the color. Despite the color of the wires, you can't connect male EPS12V to female PCIe pin because one male pin of EPS is square and it's rounded on PCIe. You can't connect male PCIe pin to EPS12V because two male pins on PCIe as the top edge join together and the corresponding pins on PCIe does not have a slit for that. As said, I have successfully converted EPS extension cable for PCI-E by swapping the color wires and cut a slit on the female connector.
If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing.